Did you know that it's virtually impossible to be sad when you're looking up? Most people, when they're not happy, they look down, don't they? They walk with their heads down. But look up! Santa's coming. The lights are on. The parties are starting. We're celebrating. And this could be a season of melancholy and sadness and reflection, right? Personally, I have very fond memories of sitting next to an illuminated tree, the fireplace, and the rest of the lights out, and just experiencing that contrast of light and dark, and just reminiscing a bit, thinking about past Christmases, holidays, friends, family, people that may no longer be in my life. Just in and out of sadness and joy, just reflecting. And all those feelings are okay, aren't they? Now, in Science of Mind, sometimes we kind of push those feelings away because we know the power of our minds and we want to stay in the affirmative. But yet, all those feelings, the anger, the sadness, the joy, the reflection, the blues, they're all okay. It's part of who we are. It's part of how we express life. Even though in this season we're supposed to be celebrating jolly holly ho ho ho, right? We're supposed to be happy. And we can sometimes feel out of sync if we're not happy during this season. But again, it's okay if we're not. It's another year ending. Time passing. Are you feeling your age a little more this year than last? Maybe we're facing a health scare or health challenge. Have we achieved our goals this year? We set goals last January. Have we achieved those? Are we where we want to be in life? Are you missing loved ones? Are you feeling alone or lonely? It's not bad or wrong to have these feelings. Our challenge, though, is when we pitch our tent and stay there too long. That's the challenge. So today my talk is Illuminating the Past. Our theme for this whole month, we do have 6 fun-filled services all month long. I hope you're here for every single one of them. Our theme is a season of illumination. So we're going to be illuminating everything. We've illuminated our space with our trees and our lights, and we're going to illuminate your minds with wonderful information this month. So you don't want to miss one of those. We're going to look back at our past today. Go back in the past. We're going to look at the things that we loved, maybe the things that we didn't, what we've known, and how we've grown. Sometimes reflecting on the past brings pain, sadness, sorrow, regret, suffering. Anybody besides me? How do we illuminate these events of our past in order to live an enlightened future? Because aren't we striving to live an enlightened future? Learning, growing, and expanding. But sometimes that stuff in the past, we have such dark memories or negative memories about that we continue to drag that through, and it influences our future. Now, you've probably heard about several practices of ways that we can illuminate our past. You may have heard of reframing the memory, changing that story around a bit so that it's not quite so painful. Perhaps you've heard of it as, oh, well, those are building blocks that have allowed me to build myself to where I am today, to be able to achieve and have what I have today. Or maybe, look what I learned and grew through strong. And all of those are great practices. I'm not discounting those in any way, shape, or form. They're great practices. Great practices. Sometimes I hear people say it's just another lesson in Earth School. Anybody ever heard that before? Earth School? I know a lot of famous teachers that use that as an example of changing our past. Just Earth School, just a lesson you had to learn, you had to go through. Personally, I've never resonated with that. Why would infinite intelligence create human beings, plop us down on planet Earth with some maniacal mission to learn and grow through pain and suffering? That's not the God I know. That's not the loving presence that I know. So I don't buy into that one too much. So why is it that we keep these negative experiences active in our minds? Why is it that the past continues to haunt us? Ernest Holmes is the author of The Science of Mind. It's the philosophy that we teach from. It's a philosophy of faith and a way of living. He reminds us that the greater must contain the lesser, and that by ascending degrees, we spiral upward. We spiral upward. He's reminding us that we are continuously expanding our consciousness. We're continually growing in an upward spiral, upside down mountain. Upside down. And for me, the statement brings me peace. It brings me peace to know that every experience that I've had, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the, oh, I wish that hadn't happened, that every one of those is just part of my journey and moving through this life experience in this physical realm. My girlfriends and I sometimes say, ooh, that's going to be a rocking chair story. Rocking chair stories are the stories we tell as we move into a phase of life where perhaps we're sitting more than we're doing like we used to. We're maybe not creating as many wild and crazy memories as we used to. And we sit and we share stories. Rocking chair memories. And sometimes it is what it is. I have to say I've heard that a few times around the room this morning as we were preparing for service. It is what it is. I can't go back and change the past, can I? I mean, not physically. I can change how I choose to experience my past, but I can't really change the past, right? It is what it is. But I can choose my experience of my past today. Do you ever find yourself experiencing deep regrets about the past? About some decision that you've made? Something that's happened in your past? Decision you made, perhaps you wish you could undo? Oh, I wish I knew then what I know now. Something you didn't do, you wish you had. I know I do. I do. I have decisions that I've made in my life that I wish I could have a do-over, have a mulligan. Have a mulligan in a golf term, right? Things that if I would have decided differently would have changed the trajectory of my life. We probably all have those, don't we? Some little thing that we did differently. Have you ever seen the movie Sliding Doors? 1998 film, I think Gwyneth Paltrow was in it. It's a story of a woman who is getting on a train. And the movie sort of stops right there. And then it goes on two different paths. One, she makes the train and what happens to her life. And then parallel to that, she misses the train, and what happens in her life. And so it's two stories in the movie. And it's interesting how the paths intersect in some ways. And as I think about those things, my father served in World War II, and he went off out of California, and my mom was there living, excuse me, while he was away. He came back and he was offered a job. Refused it, and they moved all the way back to Virginia to their little bitty tiny town. And he was given an opportunity to buy a farm. Going to go work in the factory. Worked in a factory job for 35 years that he absolutely abhorred. Now I wonder what his life, my mom's life, my brother and sister's lives would have been had they chosen to stay in California back in the 40s. Would I even have been born? How would my life have been different? And then I look at my own life. How would my life have been different had I chosen to go to the University of Virginia instead of moving to Dallas? What if I had chosen to stay and live my life in Virginia? I would have got to meet all y'all. Maybe, maybe not, right? We don't know. But things like that could change the entire trajectory of our lives. What if I'd have gone a different route? If I'd have chosen A instead of B, C instead of F? And in this teaching, I have learned the power of my mind. And that living in the past creates more of the past, right? Ernest Holmes asks us, can you, with perfect confidence, look into the future and with perfect ease of mind, rest in the present? Do you never look back and regret? If you reflect on your past, do you use it to illuminate your present and future? Have you learned to be still in your own soul and wait upon the Spirit? There's a difference in reflecting on the past and learning from it and wallowing in our past pain, isn't there? We've spent this entire year, 12 months of building a spiritual foundation, of learning practices and principles that we can use in our lives to embody this teaching so that we can go back into the past and heal that stuff without attachment, and that we can move forward into a present and into a future, an envisioned future, creating the life that we desire today, not based on what we didn't know before that created whatever that reality was, but what we know today, and stop dragging that stuff along with us. I know that many of us have traumatic things in our past. And if that's you, I encourage you to get whatever support that you need to heal that. What we are talking about today is ways to shine a spiritual light on the things of the past that we're not holding in a positive light. Things that we did, not things that were done to us. And that's sort of how I differentiate trauma from the past that we created, right? How can we shine a spiritual light on the things of our past that are causing us to feel bad today? Things that we find our thoughts focused on that cause us to feel bad about ourselves, to feel shame. Those thoughts are not healing, they're not empowering, and they're not healthy for us, right? Holmes reminds us to use thoughts of our past to illuminate our present and future. not to darken them, to illuminate them. Sitting by the tree, reflecting on life, childhood holidays, brings a smile, brings a tear. All those years weren't warm and fuzzy. Were yours? You know, many of us have those memories. But as I come across those less than happy memories, I get to choose what I think about them today. Who I am as a 65-year-old woman, knowing what I know now, and not as that 5-year-old child, that teenage girl, or that young woman. I get to choose today how I look at that stuff from this mind, not from that one. And I can look at that memory for what it was. It was a child's memory. Love, compassion, grace. I was reminded this week that in the recovery community, the first step is acceptance of things as they are. And you may know the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's a beautiful prayer, isn't it? It's a beautiful prayer. In a way, we can become addicted to our past memories and regrets and sorrows. The science of mind teaches us that we can transcend our past mistakes and their consequences through building the spirit of truth. Through imbibing the spirit of truth, which is the power of God. We can transmute hate to love, fear to faith, and a sense of separation into conscious union with good. I love that quote. I've never come across that quote before. I love that quote. Transmuting means changing from one thing into another. So we're really all alchemists, like the alchemist of old and the sorcerer's stone. Remember all that? We are alchemists because we, like Jesus, can change water into wine. In the Bible, water means our thoughts. Wine is the manifestation. So in the first miracle that Jesus, that was recorded in the Bible that Jesus performed, that's the word, I was going to say enacted, performed, was at the wedding. We're out of wine. Oh my gosh, somebody make some wine. And he did. He changed the water into wine. He changed his thoughts into a manifestation. We do it all the time, don't we? We change our thoughts into manifestation. Turning invisible ideas. Y'all remember my music stand, right? It was an idea in somebody's mind before it was ever built and manufactured and showed up here. I think I'll draw a little stand and we'll put a thing that goes this way and it goes this way and the feet go out and yeah, people can put their music or their notes on it. That's a great idea. Water into wine. Choosing to live in the present is the key to living our envisioned future. And the interesting thing about this teaching, right here, right now, today, we all have desires and ideas for our future and what we want to experience and how we want to live life based on what we know today, right? Based on what we've learned, based on our understanding of this teaching, of ourselves. And we have this thing called the past that tells us, That might not be possible. Remember what happened last time you tried that? And we let that stuff begin to seep in and create doubts within us that what we desire so adamantly is even possible for us. I'll just be disappointed again. But remember, principle is not bound by precedent. And we can let go by illuminating that stuff in the past so that it does no longer create the doubt within us. So that we can begin to live as we believe today, this envisioned future. It's up to us how we're going to remember this day. Are we going to allow our past to limit us or to launch us into the future? Remembering and honoring the past, the things that we loved, the things that we didn't, and that we've known and grown through. It's not bad unless we believe it is bad. What do you believe? What do you believe? With what brush are you painting your past? How do you recall the people, events, and circumstances in your mind? Do your memories feel heavenly or hellish? Choose to transmute negative memories and shine your spiritual light to illuminate your own past. So if you would like to learn more about these principles, we have our Mindful Monday newsletter that comes out Monday mornings. You can sign up with the QR code, send us an email, or sign up in the lobby. Reverend Lee and I send those out every Monday. And it has the notes and also has the spiritual practice. And your spiritual practice this week is to illuminate your past, of course, right? Taking responsibility for our lives is a keystone of the Science of Mind teaching. Would you agree? Yes. And this week I invite you to change water into wine. Transmute any negative memories from the past. Give up blame and judgment. Release the past and forgive anyone, including yourself. And experience dominion over your mind, which leads to personal freedom. So we have a closing quote from Ernest Holmes, who says, memory itself is an unconscious operation which was once a conscious thought. I didn't give you this one, Joe. By changing our thought, we can remold our affairs, and by right thinking, we can bring new conditions into our lives. So that basically sums up my entire message. Changing our thought, we can remold our affairs, and by right thinking, we can bring new conditions into our lives. And so it is. Yes. And now it's your turn. Time for questions and comments and complaints or whatever. Anyone?
I think it's unique that you brought this up today because Thanksgiving and with family and holidays, all of those things were going through my mind this week. People who are no longer with us, people who are not in your lives, steps you've made, places you've been. And it's interesting because sometimes they're bigger in your life than other times. But I welcome a ceremony to let them all go, let that go. The things that I blame myself for anyway, at least those things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Diane. Yeah, and that's really what we're talking about, is letting go of that self-inflicted blame and healing those past memories. Yeah. Anyone else?
Well, I think that it was really a great talk, especially after Thanksgiving. But I think We've all made mistakes in our lives. And I think the one thing that I notice in aging is looking back at sometimes, on the computer, you have that delete button. I wish sometimes we could just delete what we said or thought or did. But I think what I try to do is not make the same mistake again. Just okay, I learned from that. I can't change it, but I'm aware and I'm not going to do it again. So
Yeah,
thank you.
exactly. That's very true. Yeah, and that's where we are today. And we're going to still make mistakes, aren't we? Yeah, probably today, tomorrow, and the next day. And for me, the key is cleaning it up as quickly as I can. I mean, clean it up as quick as I can. And some of you have experienced it in this room, where something will come out of my mouth, and 2 seconds later, I come back and apologize. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was, and cleaning it up. It's not what I meant. I didn't mean that. So the faster we can clean it up, the easier it is. Let's Lori.
So how is that not Earth School? And what is it for if we're not learning from it?
Say that again. How is
it not Earth School? Like you're like, it's not Earth School, but it is Earth School, because if the practice is to look at it and then learn and do something different in the future, seems like Earth School to me.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
I just look at it as more of evolution and an upward spiral than school. That's just the way I view it. And if Earth School works, that's great. Carol.
You triggered two things for me. One, I've been involved in Science of Mind since 2010, and I remember early on the idea of spiritual bypass.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was doing it. I thought I could be so spiritual and so good, and that's a really big trigger for me when I realize I'm headed down that path, because that's not real. And oh shoot, there was a second one and I can't get to it now. Oh well. What was it? Spiritual bypass and
Okay, it'll come back. It'll come back. All right, anyone else? All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for your comments, and I appreciate you all very much for being here today. And would you join me for prayer? As we go within to that place within us that is forever illuminated, that place of light, that place of love, of peace, of harmony and joy, the place of the divine, the place of God, the infinite presence, life itself, creation, creativity, creator. We recognize this as the allness that is, self-existent, first cause, spirit. And knowing this as the all, we know that all of it is here, present, in, through, and as each one of us, as expressions of it. Each of us, that divine spark of the eternal flame that is God, that spark illuminating our own lives, our own hearts, illuminating every step on the path of our lives. For we are one, connected in each other, connected in this divinity, connected in wholeness, connected in the one and in the all. It's not God and anything else. There is simply spirit. There's us. We are one. And so I speak my word this day for and about each of us as we have come together here today by divine appointment, to be in this room, to be in this community, to be in this consciousness. The shared experience of life, the shared experience of love, this shared experience of the light. And I know as we have come together in this light today that we take that light and we move out into our world, our microcosm of experience, and that we light the lives of all that we come into contact with, whether it's someone in a convenience store, a mall, an online shopping experience, friends, family, co-workers, whatever it might be. We are sharing our light in each and every moment. We are touching lives and transforming minds because of who we be, because of the peace we carry in our hearts, because of the love and the joy that we know, because of the truth that we experience. We touch the lives of others. And so this day, I know for anyone that has anything on their heart, as they bring it into the light of this prayer, that it is illumined, that it is healed, that it is whole, that it is perfect, and unfolding in divine right order, perfect right timing. Whatever needs to be answered is answered, whatever needs to be revealed, clarified, healed. We just accept that now. And so it is with gratitude, a heart filled with thanksgiving and joy, that I release this prayer into the action and activity of law, knowing that it is already done, it is already made manifest in the lives of each of us, in the life of the center, the life of our community. I let it be, and we affirm the truth together by saying, and so it is.